Stories that time forgot.
Rome knew that the letter sent by the European Central Bank on August 5, 2011, contained an ultimatum. That would force a democratic government to surrender its legislative sovereignty in 48 hours or face total financial collapse. The internal European Central Bank memorandum that imposed austerity. Imagine for a moment waking up on a hot August morning in the heart of Italy. The sun beats down on Rome's cobblestones, and you, like any other citizen, believe your country's laws are decided in Parliament by the people you elected. But you are wrong. While you sip your coffee in a closed-door office, the fate of your savings, your retirement, and your local hospital is being dictated by men you never saw on a ballot. On August 5, 2011, at 10-30-2 in the morning, the President of the European Central Bank, Jean-Claude Trichet, and his designated successor, Mario Draghi, signed a letter addressed to Italian Prime Minister Silvio Berlusconi. The document, 3.5 pages long, was neither a technical recommendation nor a friendly economic policy suggestion. It was an ultimatum with a deadline of barely 48 hours. Italy had to pass a series of specific measures through Parliament. Public spending cuts of 25 billion euros. A public sector wage freeze until 2015, raising the retirement age to 67, and the accelerated privatization of state assets. If they failed to do so, the European Central Bank would suspend its Italian bond buying program in the secondary markets. Without that backing, interest rates on Italian debt would soar past 7% within days, making debt servicing unsustainable and forcing a total sovereign default. Berlusconi received the letter at 11:17 in the morning. Imagine the tension in the office, the smell of tobacco and cold coffee, as he read terms that dealt a death blow to his autonomy. At 1 p.m., he called an emergency cabinet meeting. By 4 p.m., under the suffocating pressure of markets smelling blood, Italy accepted all conditions without any negotiation. But you must know that the letter to Berlusconi was not an isolated case. It was part of a secret protocol designed under the codename Operation Shield. Between July and November 2011, this institution sent letters identical in structure and demands to the governments of Spain, Portugal, Ireland, and Greece. All contained the same veiled threat. Without immediate austerity reforms, the European Central Bank would withdraw its liquidity support, dragging the Eurozone into the abyss. The mechanism was deliberately opaque. The European Central Bank had no legal mandate to impose fiscal policies, but it did have the de facto power to control sovereign interest rates. The bank converted its technical independence into absolute political power. The origin of this strategy dates back to May 2010, when Greece requested its first international bailout. The European Central Bank added a non-negotiable condition. Greece had to accept an enhanced monitoring mechanism. Bank technicians would have unrestricted access to the Greek Ministry of Finance IT systems to monitor every transfer over 500,000 euros in real time. The reality was that the European Central Bank gained total visibility over Greek fiscal decisions before they were publicly announced. When the Greek government tried in September 2010 to approve a small 5% increase in the minimum wage for agricultural workers, technicians detected the budget transfer in the computer system and alerted the European Commission 48 hours before the foreign parliamentary vote. The Commission issued a statement expressing serious concern, and the Greek government, humiliated, withdrew the proposal before you could even see it. The real turning point came in July 2011. Interest rates on Italian debt reached 6.5%. At an emergency meeting in Frankfurt on August 3rd, in a room where the air conditioning barely cooled the tempers, the European Central Bank's Governing Council faced an impossible choice: allow Italy to collapse or force unprecedented reforms. Trichet, a Frenchman with a deep belief in fiscal discipline, proposed the ultimatum. Draghi warned of the risks, If citizens perceive that policies are being imposed without democratic debate, anti-European sentiment will explode. Trichet responded with a chilling phrase. In an existential crisis, democracy is a luxury we cannot afford until stability is secured. At 9 in the morning on August 5th, the Council voted 19-4 in favor of the ultimatum. The execution was ruthless. The letter to Berlusconi specified exact amounts and demanded the privatization of the Italian postal company. No democratic government had ever before received such detailed instructions from an institution not elected by popular vote. Berlusconi capitulated. On August 10th, the Italian parliament approved the austerity package with votes from the socialist opposition. But the price was a loss of legitimacy. Sentiment against the single currency grew from 8% to 25% in just 2 years. In Spain, the pattern was the same. On July 25, 2011, the European Central Bank sent an identical letter to Prime Minister José Luis Rodríguez Zapatero. Zapatero resigned shortly after. His successor implemented a 10% cut in health spending that closed rural hospitals. Youth unemployment reached 56% in 2013. The May 5-10th movement protests radicalized. The most dramatic case occurred in Greece in October 2011. The European Central Bank demanded that Prime Minister George Papandreou submit to a referendum, with a deadly trap. If the people voted no, the bank would freeze all payments, causing a total collapse in 72 hours. The referendum never happened, and Greece suffered 40% cuts in pensions. Child poverty reached 45%. The European Central Bank never admitted to these letters until they were leaked by the Financial Times in November 2015. Do you believe it is possible to maintain a real democracy when power over money sits above the power of the vote? Tell us what you think in the comments. Your opinion is fundamental to understanding this case. Like and subscribe to discover more stories that time forgot.